Okay, so for 1.3 and a little bit of 1.4, we looked at transformations. Oops. Okay, so 1.2 and 1.3, we looked at different transformations. And we said that transformations are different actions that I take to move a shape. Okay, now it doesn't have to be a shape necessarily. We're going to work with shapes. It could be me moving my body. It can be a specific type of transformation. Okay, but for our purposes, we're going to use coordinate grids. We're going to move shapes. Okay, we're going to move points. We're going to move shapes around. And we said that there are two types. Well, there's three types actually. There's two types we're going to cover today. There's reflections. Reflections, which are a mirror or a flip of an object. We have translations, which are like slides in different directions. And then we have rotations, which we haven't gotten to quite yet. So as we go through, we're going to look at how can we reflect and how can we translate a shape. So for example, I'm going to have a shape. I'm going to start at 1, 1, 1. Okay, then I'm going to be at 2, 3, and then I'm going to be at 4, 1. All right, remembering that the x coordinate goes first and the y coordinate goes second, and then I'm going to connect these points here. Now, there's two different lines we can rotate around, reflect on. So I'm going to reflect on the x-axis. This is the x-axis. I'm going to reflect on this axis, which means that if I was to fold the paper at that line, all right, I want to see which quadrant this triangle ends up. Okay, so if I was to fold here, I was to cut, I'm going to flip this over this line. Okay, which means my shape should somehow end up in quadrant 4. So now looking at this, the way that we figure out how to reflect is we figure out how many bumps does it take to get to your line of reflection. Okay, this is our line of reflection, so we're reflecting on. So how many bumps? Well, from this point, it just takes 1 to get to the line of reflection. So on the exact opposite side, it has to be the same amount. So that would be my new point there. Okay, same goes for this one. Okay, this one's 1 away from line of reflection. It's got to be 1 away on the other side. This one is going to be 1, 2, 3 from the line of reflection. So it's got to be 1, 2, 3 on the other side. And then we connect the dots and we end up having the exact same shape, but it has been reflected or it's a mirror of itself. All right, so that's the x-axis. If we were to reflect it on the y-axis, all right, the y-axis would be this vertical line here. Okay, which means I have to figure out how many jumps it takes to get from this point to my y-axis. All right, so it took 2 jumps. So it'd be 2 jumps on the other side. That would be my new point. Let's take this one. This one's 1 jump from the y-axis. It's got to be 1 jump on the other side. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4 on one side. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side. And we would connect our point there. All right. Yes, this is a little messy. There's a lot of bumps and jumping and stuff. You can do this in your head as well. But drawing the jumps really helps you to make sure you've counted correctly to do your reflections. All right. So that's one example. We can reflect on the y-axis, we can reflect on the x-axis. The trouble comes when we need to reflect on a different line. So let's say I ask you to reflect a shape on x equals -2. Okay, so I'm going to draw a shape here. I've got -1, -1. I've got -1, 1, and I've got 0, 2. Okay, so -1, -1. This one is -1, 1, and this one is 0 and 2. Okay, and I'm going to connect this weird triangle here. Now, how to figure out what this line actually is? First of all, we go, and this is x equal to -2, so we go to the x-axis. Okay, so let's go to the x-axis. Let's find it. Where's the x-axis? Well, we know this is the x-axis. So let's go there. And now the next thing we have to do is, okay, we have to find -2 on the x-axis. So remember, these are +2. That's not the same thing as -2. -2 is right here. Okay? Notice how lines go through -2, right? We're going to draw a line right at -2 here. That's going to be our line of reflection, and that's what we're going to reflect on. Okay, so first you find the x-axis, then you go to this point and you draw a line on this point. All right, and so now let's try it. All right, let's see how far this point is from our line of reflection. Well, it's 1 away, so we're going to go 1 away on the other side. This one is 1 away, so we're going to go 1 away on the other side. This one is 1, 2 from our line of reflection, so it's going to be 1, 2 on the other side. All right, and then we can connect our dots and we end up having the same shape that's mirrored, but on a different line of reflection. So what this means is if we were folding our piece of paper, we would fold it along this line here. Okay, and that would be our reflection. Okay. Now, a translation is very similar, except you're just moving a point over. Okay, so let's say I have this triangle here. Okay, I just seem to be using triangles, but you could do it with any shape. And I ask you to translate or move 2 left and 1 up. Okay, it's like Pac-Man. You move along the line. So I take this point, I move 2 to the left, 1, 2, and then 1 up. There's my new point. Okay. Same goes for this one. I move 2 to the left, 1, 2, and 1 up. There's my new point. 2 to the left, 1, 2, and 1 up. There's my new point, and this would be my new shape. Okay, so translations are really nice and easy. It's kind of like Pac-Man, okay? You just move along the lines. There's no diagonal movement. There's no weird movements. You just follow the grid. Okay, it's like a maze too. Okay, so translations, the nice thing about translations is they're nice and easy, okay, because you just follow instructions. Reflections take a little bit more work and counting.